Welcome everybody to week choo-choo of Central Texas Game Day. It's week 2. I'm Shaw Jadam. That's Donna Conrad. Donna, what an interesting week 1 we were a part of.
Yeah, no doubt. It feels like a blur now that we've gone through it, but we are in full swing here and excited for a new full slate of matchups.
Yeah, so let's before we talk about the future matchups, let's talk about past matchups. Looking at last week, how do you feel A&M fared in week 1? How do you think they looked?
I think they got off to a really nice start once they got the scoring going. I think that was really important. It felt maybe a little sluggish the first few minutes until KC Concepcion takes that 80-yard punt return to the house, got the scoring going. Felt like the wide receiver room really showed they are as advertised, which you'll hear about throughout the show. One thing I think that they need to clean up that they've talked about throughout the week is going to be the run defense and just limiting those explosive plays on that side. Maybe, a couple fixes here, tackling there. But again, I think overall, Aggies have to be happy with how week 1 panned out. How do you feel about the Bears?
It's an unfortunate turn of events with what happened with Baylor. The Baylor Nation was so hyped for this game, and the crowd was electric. It's just this Baylor team just did not have a good start. I thought Sawyer Robertson looked good, but this defense was just not. They were just lacking that spark. And I think Dawson Pendergrass on the offensive side was sorely missed. That depth chart isn't great. And the defense missing some key players. So I think the hype that Baylor Nation had, it was a little bit disappointing, but there are some positives. I think Baylor is able to rebound. It's still so early in the season, so I think Baylor has a chance maybe today to kind of rebound against SMU on the road.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, again, they're going from one hard matchup with an SEC opponent to a ranked matchup on the road. How will they respond? I think that's going to be really key for them come this week and for the rest of their season.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a tough matchup. We'll stick around. We'll preview that matchup and A&M's matchup as well as Texas. You definitely don't want to miss it. Stick around for more Central Texas Game Day.
After Texas A&M's Week 1 win over UTSA, quarterback Marcel Reed was one of 8 quarterbacks named to the Manning Award Stars of the Week list. Reed threw for a career-best 4 touchdowns, completing 22 of his 34 passes for 289 yards while adding 39 yards on the ground in the season opener. He also earned an 82.6 QBR, marking the 4th time of his career to earn an 80-plus rating. But beyond the numbers, I asked Coach Elko how he'd assess Marcel's command of the offense.
Yeah, I thought he did a nice job. I thought he was comfortable. I thought he was poised. Obviously, there's never going to be a week where there's not things he's going to wish he had back. That's just going to be the nature of playing quarterback, but I thought he delivered some really confident balls across the middle on time. We talked a lot about that last year, how we never really felt like the rhythm and timing of the passing game got right. I felt like we felt that a lot better Saturday, just balls coming out of cuts in rhythm on time, catch and run opportunities. I think all that stuff was good to see.
Throughout the offseason, there were talks of Reed, quote, not being a passer, but junior safety Marcus Ratcliffe, who goes against him in practice every day, has seen otherwise.
He's an amazing leader, an amazing quarterback. I believe he's a true dual threat. He can defeat you passing the ball, and then if he wants to, he can defeat you running the ball. And so teams definitely have to worry about both aspects.
Every week, college football fans can follow the Manning Award on social media at Manning Award to vote for what they think was the best performance from the past weekend. Voting closes Thursday at 9 a.m. The top vote getter will be announced as the Manning Award Quarterback of the Week. While the Aggies look solid in their Week 1 win, last Saturday, UTSA rushed for 203 yards and 2 touchdowns. Heading into Week 2, the Aggies will face another explosive running back in Utah State's Miles Davis, so they'll need to clean up the run defense.
I think tackling overall as a defense, we can all be better tackling for sure. There's runs that should not have spit out. There were some misfits where there's just no guys in the right hole, and we definitely got to clean that up.
Aggie head coach Mike Elko emphasized how giving up even a few big plays can be a difference maker.
The urgency to be correct and right every single snap is what differentiates you from being elite and average and bad on defense. And that's just this day and age, and that's how it works. And so regardless of who you play, regardless of what it looks like, we're really good when we do things the way we're capable of it, and we're really bad when we don't. And we've got to figure out, again, how to get the really good to be more consistent.
Effort. Easy to talk about, difficult to harness. But for this Texas A&M football team, it's become one of the pillars of their program.
I think it's really important, and I think you see kind of a joy come out of those two guys. We actually talked about that a little bit, like, to some of our older guys, like to get some of that joy back. I think that was maybe one of the things that was missing a little bit, is don't ever take advantage or take for granted the opportunities that we have playing this game. And so, I think both of those guys are high energy guys. They play really hard, and I think that becomes very infectious on our defense.
Marcus Ratcliffe and Torian York led A&M's defense in tackles week 1, and from the first snap to the last snap they played, they never once took their foot off the gas.
Honestly, I just went out there and had fun. Like I said, I think in the offseason I really, really worked hard to get stronger, get faster, and Coach Moffitt and his staff did a great job of developing me the entire offseason. So when I went out there, I just went out with full confidence, knowing I've been trained to do it. I need to do.
York enters his junior season and his second year as a captain, continuing to make strides. And Elko has seen that effort pay off.
For everything that didn't go great on the back half of the year on defense last year, I do think he really improved and developed and put together some of his best games as the year went on, and really played well in that last game. And so I think now he goes into year 2 and he isn't thinking at all. Like, he's got it all down. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's taken the angles and the reads so many times, and he's a kid that flourishes in those type of environments, when he's really comfortable and he can just go, like he can really, really take advantage of that. And so I think that's probably what you saw a little bit, and hopefully that just continues to grow as the year goes on.
We even saw the effort from 6th-year running back E.J. Smith on KC Concepcion's 80-yard punt return touchdown.
What you had on that field was some kids who are veteran players playing really, really hard in roles that were, aren't necessarily the limelight that they were dreaming of, and so, like, perfect example, I don't know how many people caught this, but like E.J. Smith blocked 3 people on KC's touchdown, and here's a kid back for his, last year as a running back, hoping to get carries and all of those things that come along with competing to be a factor in the running back room, who goes out there on punt return and understands the urgency and the importance of it, and puts together one of the greatest effort plays I've seen in my coaching career on special teams, right? And that's what a lot of it comes down to.
I think they meant so much for that block, man, for all those blocks. But I mean, like, the effort that he showed on that play was just truly amazing. I can't thank him enough for that, man.
The AP released their updated Week 2 college football top 25 poll, and we had some shuffling at the top. After falling in their Week 1 road matchup, the Texas Longhorns dropped to number 7, while the winners of that one, Ohio State, took their spot at the top. LSU jumped up 6 spots to number 3 after their win over Clemson, while Dabo Swinney and company dropped down to number 8. We also saw Texas A&M's Week 3 opponent Notre Dame drop to number 9 after their road loss to Carson Beck and the Miami Hurricanes, and the Aggies stay put at number 19 after their 42-24 win over the UTSA Roadrunners. Alabama took a massive tumble. The Crimson Tide fell 13 spots to number 21 after losing on the road to an unranked Florida State team who went from unranked up to number 14. Now, while not in the top 25 this week, the Baylor Bears received 2 votes. Could a win against number 17 SMU propel them into the top 25? We'll have to see if they can bounce back this weekend.
Coming up, we take a look at the return of a historic matchup between Baylor and SMU. Plus, I sit down with SMU's play-by-play announcer as he has ties to our neighborhood. Stick around for more Central Texas Game Day.
Diamond.
Welcome back into Central Texas Game Day. We are just underway for kickoff between the Baylor Bears and the SMU Mustangs. It's a tough matchup with a road game against ranked SMU, but this matchup brings up a lot of memories on and off the field for Baylor players and Baylor Nation. The first road game of the season is here for the Baylor Bears, and for the first time in nearly a decade, the team will face SMU. Consider it a rivalry reignited.
I think everybody's just ready, First away game of the season, so we're just ready to put the work that we're about to put in this week, all on full display.
I think anytime, you have conferences that are just across the landscape, from East Coast to West Coast and from Central to all over, I think it's good to have a rival or to have an opponent that's just down the street.
Baylor's offense and defense were put through the fire against Auburn, but the Bears hope to use the experience to prepare for the second game of the season.
For sure. I think they're two different runners, but it for sure will help us out and give us more things to put in to stop the run.
Well, they're a good group of guys. They got some athletic guys that are very talented, but Like I said, we just got to prepare this week and make sure we're focused and locked in and worried about us.
Despite still looking to get its first win of the season, the Bears maintain confidence in themselves for the season.
I think the confidence hasn't left. Confidence is there. As far as getting the win, we need the win because we just put one to bed the last game. We're not more so looking at who the opponent or the ranking or not. We just need a win, and we're hungry for a win right now. So it's very important, and it will be a very huge win for this program and this team.
The message to the team is that we're a good team, and we've got a lot of talent, and guys have sacrificed a bunch to get to this point, and we can win a lot of games. And I believe that wholeheartedly. I know our team does, and it just sucks to lose. The negativity that comes with losing and just all of it. But told them to represent, out in class and just on campus and just the whole thing. Be proud of it. We're going to win here soon.
The Baylor Bears are putting last weekend's loss to Auburn in the rearview mirror and are now taking aim at SMU. The team has a historic early morning matchup this weekend against the Mustangs. It will be the first time in more than a decade these two teams will face off. One of the most memorable matchups was in 2014 when the Baylor Bears opened McLean Stadium against the Mustangs. For the voice of the Baylor Bears, John Morris, he recalls that memorable game.
President George Bush was here, George W. Bush. His wife Laura's an SMU grad. They were both here. He tossed the coin to start the game, and then Baylor went to work, and it was 45-0 was the score in that game. So it was very memorable. It opened McLean Stadium in a great way.
College football is all about rivalries, and for Baylor the last couple of seasons, they've had old rivalries reignited.
I do like that. I just think there's a little more to that in non-conference when you do your schedule. If you can play a team you've got some history with, there's some pelts on the wall, Baylor and SMU, and it, again, really resonates with a lot of people when you play a team that was in the Southwest Conference. We played Rice. Before they were in the league, we played Houston, several times, and we played Rice. So I really do like that. I hope it continues. I know SMU plays here next year. I'm not sure beyond that, but I would hope that we could continue in some sort.
Baylor is looking for their first win of the season. Against the Mustangs on the road, is it a must-win situation?
I never like the term must-win situation because what happens if you lose? If you don't win, do you pack it in and you don't play anymore this season? So I would stop short of saying must-win. I think it's a big game, just like the Auburn game was a big game, just like Samford's going to be next week. So every game just kind of stands on its own as a really big game. Try to go 1-0 this week, and this would be a huge win if Baylor could get to 1-1 with a win over a really good SMU team.
During the Baylor-Auburn game, wide receiver Cole Wilson had a career day with 134 yards. Wilson had one person on his mind, his brother. Wilson's brother died last month at the age of 28. Cole wore a strip across his nose with the message, "Long live Bambino," as an homage to his brother.
It says, "Long live Bambino." My brother, he passed a couple weeks ago. That's his nickname. We call him Bam, so I just put this across just as a reminder. He really wanted to come to this game. He was the first person to tell me, like, "Man, put in the tickets for me." So I really wanted him to be here, but I know you're watching.
With Baylor and SMU being an in-state rival, there's bound to be some cross coverage. Well, I caught up with SMU's play-by-play announcer who is a part of our Temple High community, and he gets to see in person his two worlds collide. Baylor and SMU are set for a historic clash. One person that is most looking forward to it is Scott Garner. He's the radio analyst for the Mustangs, and he is more than familiar with our neighborhood.
I come down 35 from Dallas all the time to see my mom, who lives in Temple. I grew up in Temple Wildcat, class of 93. My senior year, we won the state championship. Bob McQueen, the head coach. So huge ties to the Central Texas area. Played baseball at Mary Hardin Baylor for 3 years. And so, I've got a lot of family members that were Baylor fans. And this game is always a huge game, particularly given the fact that SMU has not won a game in this series.
Since 1986, Baylor has won 13 straight against SMU. Garner has seen a lot of SMU football, and when it comes to this matchup, he thinks of one thing.
I immediately think of Southwest Conference battles through the years because these two teams, it always seemed to be an epic battle. Grant Taft for the Baylor Bears, and I don't know what it is about these two teams, but there's some bad blood between many at Baylor and many at SMU. And this game this weekend is going to be an epic matchup. It is so big. Every time I think Baylor, every time I think SMU in this matchup, I always hearken back to pre-1995 and the Southwest Conference.
This game brings excitement to Garner's family, and for SMU fans, it is sure to be a packed house.
They were excited about it. Is it going to be in Waco this year, or where's it going to be? And I said, no, it won't be in Waco this year. It's going to be in Waco next year. But still, it should be a jam-packed Ford Stadium. The stadium holds about 32,000 fans. Our smallest crowd last year was 27,000. I think that was against Houston Christian. But it'll be packed to the gills Saturday. I promise you, this game is going to be sold out. It'll be fantastic.
Well, for the Texas Longhorns, they have definitely seen better days. A tough loss to the defending national champions in Ohio State plunged Texas out of AP's #1 spot. The Longhorns now look to bounce back as they get ready for their home opener. Head coach Steve Sarkisian spoke on the team battling the outside noise.
I don't worry about it because of the outside noise. I worry about it because I think that's human nature, right? And so as a coach, how do you combat that? What do we do on Monday morning to get ourselves prepared for a ball game? What do we do to try to minimize players looking too far down the road and focus on the task at hand of what's right in front of them? I've been doing this long enough to know that human nature is human nature, and we can get caught in that trap. And so sometimes you coach them harder. Sometimes you point out the slightest of details that could be off to make sure that the screws are tightened up really tight.
We've got more ahead of Texas A&M's Week 2 matchup at Kyle Field. I sat down with Aggie beat reporter Tony Catalina to talk Aggies versus Aggies. Stick around for more Central Texas Game Day. Welcome back into Central Texas Game Day. I'm out here at Aggie Park. Joining me is my fellow Northeastern friend and Texas A&M beat writer for the Austin American-Statesman. It's Tony Catalina. Tony, I'm super excited that we're out here talking about Texas A&M football. We are back in full swing.
Yeah, we're back at it. The weather's beautiful and our football's back. So what's there to be upset about?
Exactly. And so let's get right into it. Week 1 thoughts. What impressed you about Texas A&M's win?
Yeah, it's hard not to sit here and say Mario Craver and KC Concepcion didn't ball out, really, for lack of a better term. I mean, Marcel Reed, a lot of question marks about his passing game, and I think they exceeded with flying colors there. So it's really hard to look at this offense and not come away impressed. Obviously, there's some things to work on, but when you came into the season, you said, what do they need to work on? I think they executed in those spots.
I would agree. I mean, I think when you looked at the offense as a whole last year, that wide receiver room really didn't bring too much to the table. I think we saw quite the opposite here in Week 1. Obviously, jury's still out. We'll see what happens as the season goes on, but I think it was a really good start.
For sure. I mean, to be able to throw 289 passing yards and 4 touchdowns for a guy who had a lot of questions about what he was going to be as a passer, and even missed one that could have blew it up 5 touchdowns. So, I mean, you're really encouraged. Obviously, you take it with a grain of salt because of the opponent. You want to see him do it against Power 4 conference and SEC competition, but you play the team that's in front of you, and it's really impressive what they're able to do.
Agreed. So then let's kind of shift gears, taking a look at Utah State, Aggies versus Aggies. What kind of challenges do you think that this Bronco Mendenhall team can present? They're still at home, and I still think, the Texas Aggies have, all the tools they need to succeed, but what kind of challenges can this Utah State team present?
Yeah, I mean, they have a running back, a 60-year running back from BYU, Miles Davis, in his first year with the program. He had 149 all-purpose yards. So much like Robert Henry Jr. was last week, they have another dynamic running back they're going to have to defend and contend with. And, we spoke to Marcus Ratcliffe earlier in the week saying, it was just a couple of misfits and little things they had to shore up. Well, this is another chance to try to figure that out. And if they have to go up there and find a way to stop the run, and if they do, then that's tangible progress that they've learned from Week 1 to Week 2.
Well, and that was going to be my next question to you. We talked about what we saw with the run defense. That seemed to be a glaring weak spot, if you will, from Week 1. So they did talk about, a lot of this was maybe first-time reps out there in a real game. But what do you think, from what you've seen on tape, that they need to do to shore up that run defense?
Yeah, I think it's about being in the right place at the right time. I think a lot of that is, missing your mark or going somewhere in a different gap than you probably shouldn't have. And you talked about it, and you just said it. 4 new defensive linemen, a couple of, different pieces, moving parts parts there. So once they start to work in unison, I think they'll be good. But without the benefit of preseason football like they have in pro game, you kind of learn it on the fly a little bit, and it takes a couple of games to get used to it, and I think that's what we saw.
Right. And then what do you think are things you want to see this Saturday that would give you more confidence that this team is the real deal and maybe as advertised? I know it's still early and it's kind of hard to tell with such a small sample size, but what are things maybe that you're looking for to see A, some progress from week one, and then B, okay, wow, they really could be, you know, a playoff team this year?
Sure, yeah. I think when you look at it, like we mentioned, the run game, if they're able to stop the run game and they're able to run the football, they didn't run it all that well in week one. It's something that we expect from them. They were the second team, best team in the conference last year. So if they're able to continue to run the football, stop the run on defense, and if we see more from KC Concepcion and Mario Craver and they're able to continue to, you know, move the football down the field in the passing game, I think those are all boxes checked that we had coming into the year.
Yeah, and I mean, with such a deep running back room, to me, it seems like it was a little surprising. I think their slow-ish start, I would say, just not many explosive run plays that we saw, you know, especially with you got Le'Veon and Reuben Owens. I just think that when it comes to that group, you'd like to see a little bit more, right?
Sure. I mean, Marcel Reed, the leading rusher, he had 39 yards in week one. I don't think in many scenarios they want that to be the case. And a lot of those are off script. They didn't call many design runs from Marcel as him getting out of the, the pocket and making plays. But yeah, in a perfect world where they have this stable of running backs that they're really excited about, you'd like to see them go out there and be more productive. Now, I think they had a plan to go out there and, pass the football and do that. So that's fine. But ultimately, it's going to come down to big-time SEC football where they're going to have to run the football, and I think they're capable of doing it. We just got to see it again.
What did you make of Le'Veon Moss's debut, obviously coming off that big injury? I mean, did you feel like he was maybe laboring a little bit? Maybe he said he was 100% when he talked to us, a week or two prior, but do you think maybe it's just getting back out there? I don't want to call it jitters, but just maybe a little bit of nerves going back out and full pads and doing it full speed.
I think you're right, though. A little bit of jitters is probably accurate. I mean, you go out there and you got to trust it full speed. The last time he touched the football in a real game, he got hurt. So to go out there and really trust the knee and be able to go and do what you got to do. I mean, there were some encouraging signs, and I know they've been smart about his usage this fall. Finding a way to kind of get him comfortable and give him more reps, it's going to come with time. But I think for week one, it wasn't too bad.
I do want to talk about specific players. Is there one this week that you think will maybe either break out, have a big impact? Offense, defense, doesn't matter. Who do you think people should watch out for this week?
I think if you're going to stay in the wide receiver room, I want to see Ashton Bethel-Roman, right? There is a lot of conversation about him this offseason. One of the fastest, pure athletic guys on the team. A lot of encouragement about him winning the wide receiver 3 job and kind of taking that and mixing it up with Derry Bussey. But find a way to get him involved and show that they truly have 3 guys that they love and appreciate in the passing game. I think I'd love to see that week too.
I agree. I do think, we heard a lot about him throughout the offseason. All of the players talk about him as, you're right, just absolute freak athlete. And to get him involved too, I just, like you said, not only would that open up the passing game for the other receivers, but talk about the tight end room too, which we haven't really touched on, but they're real deep in that area as well.
Yeah, Nate Moritur gets one of the big receptions down the middle of the seam, and obviously Theo gets a touchdown on 4th down, and Amari Niblack gets 23 play down the sideline. So last year, tight end was a position they really needed to get more from, and they weren't able to. So go into the portal, find 3 or 4 guys that they trust, and add them. I think just like wide receiver, and I think there'll be a time where they're the shining star of a game, just like wide receiver was in week 1. I think tight end has a chance to be one of those spots too.
I agree. And then let's talk come Saturday, kickoff 11:45. Give me a score prediction and then maybe something specific that you think might happen.
I think, I've said this on record, I think A&M's going to run away with this one. I think it's going to be 40-13, and I think they put it all together. Everything that seemed not so right in week 1, I think they find a way to play a complete football game. And as far as anything, give me 2 rushing touchdowns from Marcel Reed in this one.
Okay, I like that prediction. We saw him use his legs a little bit. We did talk about that earlier. He used his legs a little bit, but you're right. I do think we will see him get into the end zone a couple times. I like that. And then switching gears a little bit, in case you haven't seen, we found out this week that KC Concepcion is quite the cook. And so of the things that KC mentioned that he can make, what would be your top choice to try off of the KC Concepcion menu?
Yeah, so he talked about making yams and mac and cheese, and then he said he mixes it together.
Yes.
I'm like, I have to try that. He might have to have like a media dinner one of these weeks, yeah.
I think we do have to call in Chef KC to put a little spread together. Okay, so before we wrap up, you did a piece on Tyler Onyedem and kind of his journey to becoming an Aggie. Just tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I mean, he's from Richmond, Ruben Fagri, and those two have played together since basketball in middle school and high school football together. So Texas kid, somebody who played in the Big 12 in Iowa State, got a chance to come and be a piece of this defensive line. And he said it really wasn't a tough decision. That familiarity, being able to come home and have his family be able to come and be at every game if, when they want to. It was a really cool conversation. He's a guy who, Texas through and through. Hasn't spent much time in College Station, but enjoyed his time here. And so Tyler Onyedem, a great piece to this, this defensive line and a great addition to this team.
You said it, a great addition to this team, a great piece, and we'll continue to see him progress, I think, throughout the season. You can check out the full story on the Austin American-Statesman online or in print, but I'm sure a lot of you are going to be near your laptop, so go check it out. Tony, thanks so much for joining me, and stay with us on Central Texas Game Day for more.
Football is officially back for Mary Hart and Baylor. The Crew have gone through some changes as UMHB looks to build off of last season's success and look to return to the national championship. The UMHB Crusaders enter the season looking to ride off of the success of last season. For the Crew, the use of the transfer portal brings a new layer to UMHB football.
The longer that everybody's had to work with the transfer portal and everybody knows that it's just the way of the world right now, and it's going to be that, and we just need to get used to it and figure out ways to make it work for your program. Obviously, we did some things this spring and summer that helped us. We felt like we helped our team with the portal, but at the end of spring ball last year, we had some really good players leave and go other places because of it. So I think it's just the world we live in, and we just need to keep developing ways to make it work for you and your program.
The Crusaders had 2 scrimmages prior to this season, and the biggest growth Coach Harmon has seen is in the trenches.
The most improved from scrimmage 1 to scrimmage 2 is our offensive line. I thought they did a great job of improving and getting better. Coach Oubre has done a great job with them. I've been really pleased with both scrimmages, and we've gone out and executed on offense and defense and special teams, and we're still a work in progress. We're nowhere close to being what we can be, but there's an excitement.
College football is all about scheduling, and for UMHB, they have seen a trend when it comes to finding opponents.
The trend is that Division III teams will not play us. That's what the trend is. For many reasons, the number one reason they always say is expense and travel. That's the first thing that they throw out. But what playing NAIs and Division IIs, at least we're playing incredibly tough competition. We're playing, fully scholarship schools and so should be playing against, the same kind of competition that the playoffs bring, the same quality of team, athletes, and stuff like that.
And the Crew will have a new leader under center. We confirmed that last year's starting quarterback, Jake Wright, is no longer on the roster. Wright threw for 1,678 yards and 13 touchdowns last season for the Crew, leading them to the Division III NCAA quarterfinals. UMHB season opener is underway at home against Bethel University.
More NFL football kicks off Sunday afternoon, and the Houston Texans are excited about the addition of former Aggie wide receiver Christian Kirk, who's making his return to the Lone Star State. During the preseason, I asked Texans head coach DeMeco Ryans and quarterback C.J. Stroud the impact Kirk can have on this Houston offense.
Christian Kirk has been outstanding. So happy to have him on our team. The way Christian shows up and works every day, it's such a great lesson for our young guys to watch a guy just do it day after day. Consistent. That's one thing. Chris, he's consistent as ever. And he makes tough catches. He made some nice plays in the practice against the Panthers this week. Always a reliable guy. And that's the thing that's important to me. I talk about building trust among teammates, coaching staff, everybody building trust, becoming a tight unit. Christian is that guy who's proven that you can trust him in any situation, whatever we ask him to do. He's a guy you can trust, and looking forward to him just continue to flourish in what we're asking him to do on offense.
And I think Christian brings that veteran status in the room, but also knows how to play, plays fast, has some swag, doesn't just run routes on paper. And he teaches the young guys like, hey, this is work against this leverage, just to not work against that. I think that's great for the room. So it's growing every day.
You can watch Kirk and the Texans kick off their season Sunday, September 7th against the Rams at 3:25 p.m. Well, speaking of Texas A&M wide receivers who've made a splash in their Aggie debut, Christian Kirk held the record for most receiving yards in his first game for the Maroon and White back in 2015. 10 years later, Mario Craver stepped onto Kyle Field for his first game as an Aggie and broke Kirk's record, finishing with 8 catches for 122 yards and 2 touchdowns.
I've always been a ball and hands guy. That's what they brought me here for run after catch situations. So, for me, it's just something I do, something they brought me here to do. So that's my job.
I think, I know you guys have seen he's insanely shifty. He can move incredibly well laterally and vertically. Super fast, super smart player. He knows football. And he's just a dog, honestly. He's a winner. Wide receiver KXXV also became the first Aggie to log a punt return touchdown and a receiving touchdown in the same game since, well, you guessed it, Christian Kirk versus New Mexico back in 2017.
As soon as I got through the little gap, I knew it was over with. Especially with EJ and all my guys turning upfield and finding the block, I knew it was over with. So Craver and Concepcion were two of the most crucial pickups for an A&M team that didn't see a ton of success at the receiver position last season. After putting on a show for Aggie fans last Saturday, both of them were impressed by Kyle Field and the 12th man.
Nah, the atmosphere is definitely crazy. Yeah, the fans, the drums, the everything, the crowd, everything. Just, I'm not gonna lie, top notch, definitely. And I didn't play. I played at Georgia last year. I played at Texas last year. It's 1 to none.
Honestly, the crowd was crazy. Definitely up on that punt return. Whenever I'm out on the field, I can usually tune out the crowd and not really hear nothing. But when I had broke, I was hearing the whole crowd. I'm just like, dang. I've never seen nothing like this. Since arriving on campus in January, both Mario and KC have built a strong relationship where they push each other to be better.
And we know the team goes as we go. The offense goes as we go. As soon as we make our supposed to play, everybody, here comes the O-line, here comes the running backs. That's just what we do. We're playmakers, we're game changers. That's what we do. And the relationship with KC, that's my dog, bro. Ever since day one, we've been iron sharp as iron. Trying to make each other better. I'm pointing out his flaws. He's pointing out my flaws. That's my dog.
Coming in January, Marcel, Rio, Ashton, Bussy, you feel me? All of us guys, you feel me? We just got together, talked. You feel me? I have the guys come over to my place to eat all the time. I cook all the time. We just sit there, watch film. So. And their teammates are definitely glad they're wearing maroon and white.
I'm glad Mario Craver's on our team, for one. Obviously, we played him last year, and he gave us a little bit of troubles in that first half. KC, words can't explain how much of a good person he is, really. He's a great guy. He takes care of the people around him, and not only his family, but his peers as well. So I'm glad that both of them are on our team.
And then Rio, like I said, you throw him a ball behind the line of scrimmage, and he turns it into a 60-yard gain. You can't ask for anything better. So great respect for those guys. They're great players, and I'm happy they're on my team.
Don't go anywhere. Coming up, Chief Meteorologist Matt Hines has your game day forecast, and we check in with the Aggie women's golf team who's coming off a big win out in California. We'll be right back with more Central Texas Game Day.
Well, it looks like it's going to be a cloudy day across most of the state, and we will have a chance for a couple showers and thunderstorms this morning. But notice how it kind of dries out as we go into the afternoon. So as we take a look at college football games, hopefully we won't see a lot of rain and thunderstorm activity, but a few showers will still be possible. But it will be quite a bit cooler, especially across the northern half of the state. As you head farther to the south, probably still on to the warm side. Then for the drive home as we get into Sunday, well, there'll be a few showers around from time to time, and we will have partly to mostly cloudy skies here across the area. And then after that, it starts to really heat up as we move into next week. So let's check out what's going on across the state. Crusader Stadium, the Crew taking on their first home games here. 70s expected there for Saturday evening. There will be a chance for a couple showers and thunderstorms as well. So we will be tracking that as we make our way through the evening hours on Saturday. Again, an evening game here. About a 40% chance of rain. As we take you to Aggie Land, this one's going to be in the morning, so temperatures are going to be warming up. So I think we'll be in the 80s. We may even touch 90 degrees by the end of the game. There will be a 30% chance for a couple showers and thunderstorms as well, and winds will be shifting to the north. So it's going to be pretty warm down there in Aggie Land. As we take a look up toward Dallas, Baylor taking on SMU. Looks like 80s and a chance for a couple scattered showers and thunderstorms as temperatures warm up. Again, this is a morning game, an 11 a.m. kick, so temperatures will be warming from the 70s into the 80s as that happens. But again, not looking too bad for this time of year. As we head to Austin at DKR, looks like an 11 a.m. kick for you as well. So it will be warming into the 80s. We may even touch 90. It'll be all dependent on where that front lays down. So that's what we're going to be watching here. A chance for some scattered showers and thunderstorms to go along with that as well. Winds will eventually shift to the north, but it may be late afternoon. So it's still going to be pretty toasty there in Austin. And out in Lubbock, this is also an early kick. I do think we'll have some rainy conditions, and I have temperatures in the 70s. Some of the latest guidance keeps temperatures in the 60s in Lubbock, so we will be tracking that. 20% chance for a couple of showers and thunderstorms along with that, with northeast winds at 5 to 15. So basically, we're talking about chances for rain all across the state. Temperatures will steadily come down. But with a lot of these morning kicks, it is going to warm up at least a little bit during the afternoon hours. So probably some short sleeves and some T-shirts can be expected. But the farther north you are, you may want to bring a light jacket just in case we get some of that cooler air in, especially out in West Texas.
Well, the Week 1 win wasn't exclusive to just the Aggie football team. The Aggie women's golf team opened up their fall season with a big win at the Carmel Cup. But this wasn't just a big win. This was absolute domination by the Maroon and White, winning the tournament by 26 strokes out in Pebble Beach.
Man, I haven't been a part of very many weeks like that and at a venue that's just, that one will stick with me for a very long time.
From their opening round, the number 7 Aggie women's golf team never let their foot off the gas, even with a sizable lead heading into Sunday.
You know, there's a lot of preseason hype, and you don't know if that's in their head and feeling like they've got to answer. But, you know, we tied for the lowest round of the day. You know, we played our last 5 holes well under par. Out of the 5 counting scores, 4 of them were under par in the back 9. So that tells me that there wasn't any relaxing. They were still fighting all the way to the end. So I'm proud of that because that comes from within them.
Even out in California, the Maroon and White had a lot of support from the 12th man.
Well, start to finish, we had a lot of family and friends there. And when Natalie was the first off on Friday, it was loud. That was probably the loudest I've ever heard a first tee for us, just from a regular season event. So it actually, you know, she's about to hit, and just you hear the whoops and, you know, cheering behind. And it's like kind of startled me because we're in California.
The Aggies brought in one of the best recruiting classes in the country, and they showed up. Every A&M golfer, including 2 freshmen, finished in the top 25 of the tournament.
The interesting thing this week was a lot of firsts, just from a team standpoint, how we are around them in a practice round, how we're around them on a golf course, things that we do before. And like you, in some ways, you kind of have to conform with the team and go with the flow. Yes, it is an individual sport with a team concept. So I was pleased with how they adapted to everything we did, because we don't have a scrimmage or do anything at home. There's live ammunition going starting Friday. So I was really pleased with how well they adapted and how they plugged in and just asked great questions, and their just total awareness was very impressive.
And the way the team performed this past weekend will continue to fuel competition throughout the rest of the fall.
The thing that I'm going to love, it just once again raises the bar. Like the young ladies that didn't get to travel now look like, man, I'm going to have to go play well and make up some ground at home. But it's just, I think I've learned from the bunch that we had a couple years ago that were just amazing, that I want to help them stay present.
The Aggies return to the course September 8th at the Folds of Honor Collegiate in Grand Haven, Michigan. You can watch it on Golf Channel. We're just a few minutes away from kickoff. Don't go anywhere. We've got our Week 2 predictions coming up next.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do a little bit better this week.
We can only hope so. We'll be right back with more Central Texas Game Day.
Welcome back into Central Texas Game Day. Before we wrap things up, let's do some predictions, Donna.
Okay, so just to recap, last week you went 3-2, I went 4-1. I'm up a game. Let's see if you can make up some ground.
I think I can do it. I think I can do it. All right, let's go.
All right,
with the
cool.
matches.
All right, first we got Baylor at number 17, SMU. You'll be at that one. What are you thinking?
Oh, I've been going back and forth with this one, and I hate to say it, but I think the streak is going to be over. I think SMU is going to win their first ever matchup against the Baylor Bears. I got SMU.
I got SMU too. I agree with you. All right, moving on. Next one, we got number 19, Texas A&M hosting Utah State. Aggies versus Aggies.
Yeah, I think I'm going to take the first Aggies. I think Texas A&M is going to come away with this. I think they're going to win pretty handily.
I agree. Give me the Texas Aggies for game 2. Now, moving on. Number 24, Texas Tech versus Kent State.
You know, for the sake of Matt Hines not being mad at me, I'm going to take Texas Tech. So I think Texas Tech is going to easily win this one.
And for the sake of the Red Raiders being a pretty good football team so far, I'm going to go Texas Tech, wreck them. Now our 6 o'clock game that we've got on ABC tonight, number 15, Michigan at number 18, Oklahoma. Ooh. This one was a tough one for me. What do you have?
I think Michigan's a really good football team. This is going to be a very close matchup. But shout out to Heather Healy. I'm going with Oklahoma. I think they're going to take the win here.
Are we doing all of the same picks this week?
Well, I mean, hey, you're ahead, so I gotta try and copy you a little bit.
Well, you know what? I gotta go with OU too. I also think that Oklahoma being home is going to give them the edge here. And our final matchup that we're going to predict this week, number 7 Texas hosting San Jose State. Who you got?
Yeah, well, Texas kind of burned us last
week.
I really thought Arch Manning was going to kind of have a coming out party. Not exactly the game I thought it was going to be, but yeah, I think this is a chance for Texas to kind of rebound, kind of get some things going. I think Texas is going to win this one.
All right, so me and Shaji have picked all of the same teams this week, so the results may hold for next week. We'll see. But yeah, I got to take the Longhorns too in this one for sure. I think they bounce back and get a win.
Okay, sounds good. Well, that's going to do it for week 2 of Central Texas Game Day, brought to you by the Zimmerman Law Firm. This is a fun one, Donna.
Absolutely. Be sure to keep it right here on ABC. Coming up next, number 7 Texas hosting San Jose State.
All right, be sure to watch that. Thank you so much for joining us for week 2. We'll see you for week 3 of Central Texas Game Day.
Happy football, y'all.